Hello everyone, welcome in this dermatology session. Now, the discussion of the today's topic is dermatoscopy. So, this is a very small instrument which is, very frequently used nowadays in a lot of dermatology practice. Now, first of all, a little bit about history. This is a skin surface microscopy which was started in 1663 by Kohlhaas. It is improved with addition of immersion oil in 1878 by Ernst Abbe. A German dermatologist, Johann Sephier, added a built-in light source to this instrument. So if you notice that year by year we are progressing in the equipment, we are making it more and more sophisticated and more useful. Goldman coined the term dermoscopy and used the dermatoscope to evaluate the pigmented cutaneous lesions. In 2021, the first polarized dermatoscope, the Derm Light, was introduced. The polarized illumination coupled with a cross-polarized viewer reduces polarized skin surface reflection and thus allow the visualization of skin structure without any leakage fluid. So what does illumination do? It coupled with the cross polarization view, it reduces the skin surface reflection. So previously what we used to do, we used to put oil so that the reflection of the skin can be avoided. But recently we have a polarized illumination and we don't need any immersion or linkage fluid for that. This is a very simple non-invasive diagnostic tool. It visualizes subtle clinical patterns of skin lesions and subsurface skin structure which is not normally visible to the unaided eye. It is also known as skin surface microscope, epiluminescence microscope, and episcope. Functionally similar to a magnifying lens. With the added feature that is inbuilt illumination system, high magnification which can be adjusted, ability to access structure as deep as in the reticular dermis, and ability to record the images. So these are some of the added feature to a simple magnifying lens which was used as a conventional method. Now we are making it more and more tech savvy, we should say. Now, what is the advantage? It is an office procedure. It obviates the need of a skin biopsy. So it's like a non-invasive diagnostic method. It facilitates the storage of the images and results are immediately available. We don't have to wait. Now, on what principle dermoscope is based on? It is based on the principle of trans-illumination of a lesion and studying it with a high magnification to visualize the structure, subtle features. So it illuminates the lesion as well as it helps us in seeing the detailed contours of that particular region, which help us diagnose also. We can monitor the treatment response also. If it is a cancerous condition, we can diagnose it beforehand, like very early in the course of event. Light incidents Light incident on the surface undergo reflection, refraction, diffraction, and absorption, influenced by the physical properties of the skin. Most of the light incident on dry scaly skin is reflected, but smooth or oily skin allow most of the light to pass through it, reaching the deeper dermis. So as I told you, like previously we used to put oil and then we used to see the lesion. But nowadays with the help of polarized dermoscope, this thing can be, the skin reflection can be prevented by using the polarized light. What is linkage fluid? It is used to increase the translucency of skin and it improves the visibility of subsurface skin structures. We use oil as one of the linkage fluid, which can be olive oil, mineral oil, then it is immersion oil which is used. We can even use water, antiseptic solutions and glycerin. The immersion oil not used because it contained chlorinated paraffin. It contains dibutyl phthalate, which has teratogenic, phytotoxic, and carcinogenic effect. So if you're using this on the skin, that this would not be a good practice. Water or antiseptic solutions evaporate quickly and they are less preferred. Liquid paraffin is inexpensive, safe and easily available technique with good result, and that is why in most of the procedures, most of the dermoscope, the linkage fluid which is used is actually liquid paraffin. Now what is the mechanism in which the dermoscope works on? So it's very simple. If you see here, So we have a light source which is inbuilt in the dermascope. We apply a linkage fluid and then we touch the dermascope. The light which is like emitted through the light source, it just get absorbed and then it is reflected back through the lesion which we see through the lens, and this helps in magnifying that particular lesion. Sorry. Now what is the basic design? We have a achromatic lens. Most instruments provide a 10x magnification, but higher magnification can be achieved with special lenses. We have something known as inbuilt illumination system. So first thing which you have is a lens which magnifies the lesion by 10x. Then you have inbuilt illumination which contain halogen lamp. They are oriented at an angle of 20 degree and are placed with the handheld or within the handheld piece. The color contrast of the lesions are altered by the yellow light of the halogen lamp. So that is something which is not very acceptable nowadays. We don't want to see the lesion in a different color. It changes the contour also, it changes the appearance also. So that is a side effect with halogen lamp. Nowadays we are using LED, which is Delta 20 or Derm Light dermascope. They use LED. It provides a very high intensity white light. It consumes 70% less power compared to that of halogen bulb, and because it is LED, so that yellowish effect is also not seen. Illumination can be altered by turning off a set of LEDs. It emits the light of different color for better visualization of the skin, as penetration of the skin by light is proportional to the wavelength of the light. So nowadays we can even judge how deep we want to see. By emitting the light of different wavelength, we can now see the lesions of different depth in your skin. The third thing which we get in a dermascope is a power supply. The handheld instruments are usually powered by batteries. You can have lithium ion battery, you can have rechargeable lithium batteries, then you have AA batteries, and you have rechargeable handles. What are the additional facilities? Sometimes in few of the dermascope you have inbuilt photography system. It is attachable conventional or digital cameras, or sometimes they can have inbuilt cameras also. You have supporting software for the capture, storage, retrieval, and even interpretation of the images. Now, what are the types of dermoscopy instrument? The first one is instrument without image capturing facility. So that is an instrument where there is no image capturing facility. The instrument with image capturing facility, that's a second type. And the third is it has image capturing facility and it can has an analytic capacity also. So it's like a more advanced version. The later two instruments have the added advantage of being able to take short videos of dermoscopy. Coming to the first, dermascopes without image capturing facility, which is actually the older one. Now, dermascope is a handheld otoscope-like instrument that lack an inbuilt camera or any other image capture facility. However, the cameras can be attached to some of these instruments with an adapter. It incorporates different colored polarized light like white, blue for surface pigmentation, yellow for superficial vessels, red for deep pigmented vessels. So if you remember, I told you that we use different wavelength light. And why we choose different wavelength light? Because the depth of penetration into the skin depends upon the wavelength of light. Now it facilitates better visualization of skin structure based on the principle that depth of penetration of light is proportional to the wavelength. We have different companies like Dermo Genius Basic, Dermalite MS, Delta 10, Mini 2000 Dermatoscope and Episcope. Coming to the second one, Dermascope with image capturing facility. We have either an inbuilt image capture system or have a camera attached from dermoscopy photograph. Whole body photography is possible. Both clinical and dermoscopic pictures of 10x magnification can be taken. A video dermatoscope has a high resolution camera fitted to the handpiece. And what are the companies which forms dermascope with image capturing facility? Delta 20, Derma Phot, Dermalite Photo and Video Episcope. So these are some of the instruments. You can see that on the handheld part, there can be the attachment of the external camera. So that is the delta scope, and this one is your derma pot. Okay. You can see the different structures. Number A, it is a rechargeable battery, rechargeable handle. B is a handpiece. Then you have a connecting ring. Then there is a photo adapter. Then we have a camera. Then we have a contact lens, and we have a small contact lens. Dermascope with image capture facility and analytical capability. It achieve images of patient which can be compared with the new. Archive pictures, the older pictures of the patient can be compared with the new. Any significant change in the lesion with different color signals can be done. Now there are different techniques of using a dermascope. We have discussed the different dermascope. Let us discuss some different techniques. First is known as contact technique. The glass plate of the instrument comes in direct contact with the surface of linkage fluid applied on the lesion. The contact plates made of multi-coated silicon glass. Graduated plates have inscribed scales for measuring the lesion, while non-graduated plates lack a scale. Sterilized by using 2% glutaraldehyde methylated spirit, boiling or autoclaving. We have non-contact technique also, where we do not need to contact the lens with the skin. They have a cross-polarized lens which absorb all the scattered light and hence allow only the light in a single plane to pass through it. There is no nosocomial infection, but the decreased illumination and poor resolution is something which is a very big disadvantage of non-contact technique. Now, what is the application of dermoscopy? Largely, it is used in a white skin individual for the study of melanocytic nevus and melanoma. It also aids in the diagnosis of skin tumors such as basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, cylindroma, dermatofibroma, angioma, seborrheic keratosis, and many other. Diagnosis of scabies and pubic lice can also be done. So you can see this is a patient of scabies. When I see the patient on dermoscope, I can demonstrate the burrows, and this helps or aid in making the clinical diagnosis. In head lice, we can see the knit in a very like a gigantic or a magnified view. Diagnosis of what distinguishes it from the corn, callus, trauma or foreign body. Hair and scalp disease such as alopecia areata, female androgenic alopecias, monolithics, Nathan syndrome, woolly hair syndrome. We call this type of dermoscope as trichoscope. So it is just a magnified view which can tell you about the hair diameter density. It can tell you about the scaling, crusting of the hair, any hair shaft defect if it is having. What are the dermoscopic features of some of the classical condition? First is pigment network. Honeycomb-like network of pigmented lines and hypopigmented halos. Typical network is relatively uniform, regularly meshed, homogeneous in color, and usually thinned out at the periphery. But what is atypical? When you see non-uniform, darker and broader lines, holes that are heterogeneous in both areas and in both the areas and the shape, and it may end abruptly. So this is a very classical typical. Can you see that it is fading on the margin? It has fine lines. Okay, and you can see that there is uniformity, homogeneous in the color. But if you see, here you can see the halos. The lines are broad and they're not shrinking as we are going on the periphery. So this is the atypical network. Dot is a small round structure of less than 0.1 mm in diameter, which may be black, brown, gray or blue. What are globules? They are round to oval, well demarcated structure of more than 0.1 mm. So dot and globule is same, the only difference is in the size. What is branch streak? If you see in the periphery, you can see some branching streaks like this. Alternate network pigment which becomes disrupted and broken. Radial streaming is like this. Parallel lines arranged radially, asymmetrically at the periphery of the lesion, also known as pseudopods. Can you see the pseudopod? Finger-like projections. Then structureless areas. These are the areas that are devoid of any discernible structures, like there's nothing in that area. You just see some change in the color. Blue and white whale, it is an irregular marginated confluent blue pigment with overlying white ground glass haze. Then you have a media-like cyst, which is visible as small white yellow cystic structure. Leaf-like area, we have brown to blue-gray discrete structure which resemble leaf-like pattern. On the basis of presence of above structures in various combination, the differential diagnosis of the pigmented lesion is made. The classification of pigmented lesions, we use two-step procedure, which was suggested recently, not recently, but in the 2003 consensus meeting. In the two-step approach, first step is to differentiate between melanocytic and non-melanocytic lesions. Melanocytic lesions have aggregated globules, pigment network, branch streak, parallel patterns. If it is melanocytic, the next thing is we differentiate whether it is benign or it is malignant. The algorithm, the pattern analysis, ABCD rule, 7-point check, the Menzies method and the revised pattern analysis, these are all the algorithm which is used. If it is a malignant region, you see asymmetry of the lesion, much architectural disorders, and it shows multiple colors. For benign, you see symmetrical pattern, architectural order, and you see few colors and homogeneity. See, so whenever you see a pigmented lesion, you have to make sure whether it is pigmentary or not, whether it is because of melanocyte or not. And if you find that it is because of melanocyte, the next thing is you check whether it is malignant or benign. We have various algorithms which gives different grades or scores to the above mentioned features. If the score is above the cutoff or the criteria is fulfilled, the lesion is considered malignant. Okay. Pattern analysis produce the best diagnosis performance. So as we have discussed that the algorithm is, first of all, we have to check whether it is melanocytic or non-melanocytic. And the second is we have to look for whether it is benign or malignant. Okay. And what are the different algorithms like ABCD rule, 7-point check, Menzies method, revised pattern analysis, 3-point check, etc. Now what is step number 1? We look for pigment networks, pseudo networks, globules, branch streak, parallel pattern. This indicates we are dealing with melanocytic nevi. If it is diffuse color, homogeneous blue color, it is blue nevus. Multiple melia-like cyst, comedo-like opening, fissure, hairpin blood vessels, sharp demarcation, moth-eaten borders, light brown fingerprint-like structure, network-like structure, seborrheic keratosis. Arborizing vessels, large blue-gray ovoid nest, then globules, poke-wheel areas, basal cell carcinoma. Red-blue lacunae, red-blue to red-black homogeneous area, this is angiokeratomas. So like that, melanocytic and non-melanocytic nevi, you have to check with the help of this algorithm. Pigmented basal cell carcinoma, negative feature is absence of pigment network plus at least one of the following positive features. They have linear and arborizing telangiectasia, which you can see here very clearly. Leaf-like structures or structureless areas on the periphery, multiple blue-gray globules, large blue-gray ovoid nest, focal ulceration and spoke wheel areas. Dermoscopy or non-pigmented BCC, pink color, absence of pigment network and arborizing vessels. Squamous cell carcinoma, non-specific pattern with scales, grouped glomerular blood vessels surrounded by whitish halo. So you can see that there is a whitish halo which is surrounding the glomerulus blood vessels. In seborrheic keratosis, melia-like cyst, comedo-like opening, hyperkeratosis, light brown finger-like structures, hairpin blood vessels and cerebriform appearance. So can you see the melia-like cyst which is present? Then hyperkeratosis and fissures, and here you can see the cerebriform pattern. Actinic keratosis has pink-red pseudo network. Can you see the pink-red pseudo network surrounding the hair follicle? Then you have whitish yellow surface, linear wavy blood vessels, hair follicular opening which is filled with yellowish keratotic plaque. In dermatofibroma, you can see the peripheral pigmented network, the central white scar-like patch. Then you have vascular structures, white network and absence of melanocytic features. In pyoderma gangrenosum, reddish homogeneous area, you can see a white collarette surrounding this. ulceration, and a white rail lines intersecting the lesions. Can you see this white rail line? This is very classical. Kaposi sarcoma has a bluish red coloration, rainbow pattern. Can you see it look like a rainbow? And the surface shows small brown globules. Trichoscopy, little bit about it. Normal scalp, the follicular unit contain at least 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 hair which is terminal and 1 to 2 hair which is vellus. So this whole thing is a hair follicular unit. You can see 1, 2, 3 terminal hairs. In darker races, a prominent brown homogeneous pigment network is seen over the scalp. In alopecia areata, you can see a very classical tapering. You can see the hair when it is going down, it is getting tapered. In androgenic alopecia, there is thinning. The terminal hair is getting converted into vellus, thinning of the hair. And you can see some white dot. Pearly white dot is also very classical. These represent hypertrophic sebaceous gland. You can see peripheral halo. This sign is seen in early androgenic alopecias and it indicates the perifollicular inflammation. In telogen effluvium, the hair density decreases with presence of empty follicle, can be easily differentiated from androgenic alopecia because of absence in hair shaft diameter variation and peripylar halo. We have already discussed that. Affect the entire scalp unlike androgenic alopecia which is more patterned. And the classical feature, how to diagnose it, is the diagnosis of exclusion. Teenage capitis, you can see black dots which is the broken hair, scaly blotchy pigmentation. In trichotillomania, you can see hair shaft and broken hair of variable length. Also, sometimes you can see longitudinal splitting of the hair, coiling of the hair. You can see the hairs are getting coiled. It is getting split along the length. In lichen planopilaris, you see scales and you see blue-gray dot, which indicate that there is pigment incontinence. In DLE, you see atrophy and complete follicular paucity with arborizing telangiectasia and scaling. So these were some of the features. This presentation was made in detail for all of you. So I request all of you to please go through it. Whenever a patient come to your OPD, try to check all these features so that you can have a complete view of that particular area. Thank you and have a nice day.